Hey guys, what is up? And welcome back to another video. Today we are here for another episode of Goattville Building, the first episode of 2019. And today we are over here in the city to not work on the museums. I got you with that. I figured, you know what, I'm just gonna take a little break from the museums for now. Maybe I'll come back to them in the next week's episode, but I figured for now, let's just get working on some of the more interesting stuff, you know, for both me and for my audience, because I noticed that, you know, usually the videos in which I work on the city tend to do a lot more than the museum, and also just because I've been working on the museum for so long. It's been like, for both the museums, it's been around 2 months, maybe even more than that I've been working on them, so it's about time for a change. We're going to work on probably the best part of this world. Second best in my opinion, but my views say otherwise. I've done a little bit of work just to sort of do some preparations before we got started, and I figured that what we're first going to do is just get started into making some skyscrapers, instead of, you know, trying to fix up anything that we just sort of, you know, did a year and a half ago, like filling in the interior to that building over there, or fixing up this weird street, or adding some more cars in. I figured, you know, let's just do something interesting. So we have this road which comes down here, which is right off from the bridge, so one of the first things you see when you come into the city. And there's not many skyscrapers that go this way. We just have just 3 of them right there. So I just decided to come down here and, you know, continue with the row of skyscrapers. So I built out this a little bit, and I got ourselves a little bit of a structure of what we're going to be doing here. I'm trying to remember. I remember I got a reference picture for some inspiration on what to build it from, and I can't remember if it was from Seoul, South Korea, or from Dubai in the UAE. I can't remember, but it was from one of those cities. Yeah, but I built out this road right here a little bit, just a very small, narrow road for mostly like service stuff, and we have this little driveway kind of thing behind it. I'm not too sure what to call it, but just, you know, another small little road with a gate. And just leads to this little alleyway with just a bunch of random stuff scattered about. And let's see what else. Oh yeah, I was going to talk about the plans that I have for the city. Now, you know, every single major city, or at least every good major city, always has something memorable to it, you know. So I kind of want to do something like that for this city as well. I don't want it to just be a big pile of skyscrapers. You know, those aren't the good ones. So what I'm deciding is, like, to build out these roads a little bit until about right here, I'm guessing. I think this is a good distance, and then we're just gonna have a road going down that way, and then right here in this big open area, this is where we're going to put one of, like, the, you know, the tourist areas, you know, the place that brings in all the tourists. So I asked a couple episodes back for, like, interesting things to put in the cities, in the city, and I got a lot of, you know, good answers, like convention center and casino. And I think I might go with, like, a casino, because I'm pretty sure in Las Vegas the casino's got all those beautiful fountains and they look all nice and luxurious. So maybe we can put one of those at the base, but I do want one of those sort of ornamental things. You know, cities always have those ornamental things. You know, what's a good example? Things like oh yeah, those gateway arches that are in, like, you know, 5 million cities across the world. You know, there's one in France. I think there's one in Berlin, and one in Pyongyang even. So I don't want to do something that everyone's been done, but, you know, something kind of like the Eiffel Tower. You know, it has no practical use, but, you know, it defines the entire city. So if we can get something like that, that'd be nice. I'm gonna figure out if it should be like a monument or just a random building, or how I'm even going to build it. But anyway, until we get into there, we actually need to build up some of the cityscapes. So I suppose we can get straight into this. I have a simple little design right here. I probably need to make this a bit wider, because this is quite a narrow skyscraper we have right here. So I just need to build out this side a little bit more, and then hopefully we can get, like, the majority of this entire building done in just this episode. I know that's a lot to say for just a single episode to get an entire skyscraper done, but for this one, I'd say this one took me no more than like an hour and a half or 2 hours to completely build. I can't remember. I built that April of 2017, so I can't really remember building that. But we're just gonna see how far we can get into this. I'm not gonna worry about the interior too much. We can do that for the next episode, and we'll probably just do the lobby. But yeah, I suppose we can get straight into this. I'll flesh out the base a little bit more, and then we can get into some better stuff. So I'll get started in 3, 2, 1. And we're back after an eternity and a half. I spent way too much time working on this. I probably spent like an hour and a half working on that, which is weird because that's what I said it would take to build the entire thing. But I pretty much just finished up the entire exterior for this. I mean, it's nothing too perfect. And I definitely need to add some more detail, but going all the way around, it's got everything. So now we can finally start working on the other parts of it. And now I hope that, I've been recording, well, I haven't been recording, I've just been building for so long, but I probably have about like 5 minutes of recording. So I suppose we're going to have to do something a bit more interesting. So with this skyscraper, what we're going to do is we're going to have sort of a glass front, like right there, sort of similar to the Nether Bank. It's got primarily glass in the front, which is something that I don't really do that much in the city. There's not so much glass as there is as in other places, so I think we'll compensate for that with this building. So we'll have a big glass face right here, but in places like this where it sort of comes out, we'll have a bit more of an organized and a solid colored looking thing. I think that would be a good thing to do, and I might do one on this side as well. So we can just have a nice glass face going up like that. And I'll probably make it about, well, assuming that one's like 14 floors, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's only like 11 floors. So I have no idea why I thought it was 14, but yeah, I don't know how tall any of these are, but I know they're like somewhere around or below 10. So this one's gonna have to be like a little bit shorter, or I don't know. We'll see as it goes up which one. What will be the appropriate height, because in comparison to all the other skyscrapers that we're building, this one is turning out to be a little bit bigger than usual, especially in its depth. So we might have to make it a little bit taller than that. But anyway, let's just get started with building. I'm not too sure exactly how tall it needs to be unless we get all that stuff. So what sort of thing are we gonna go for with here? On the bottom we have we just have normal white and then some dark gray in there, but it seems like everything in the city is sort of taking that vibe, so let's spice it up with the top bit. I was thinking maybe for the big glass kind of wall thing that we're gonna have, we can use like some blue stained glass. We can have something like that. I think that would look pretty awesome. So we'll figure that out, and then for the side bits, maybe we can use something like, would this look good? Like some end stone bricks? Or is that gonna look? Yeah, it looks a little bit too much. Well, let's see. Is there a better sort of, or maybe we can just keep that one to keep the side bits as gray. Maybe using. Oh dear, I really wish there was a wider sort of blocks we could use. All right, is there anything good, or are we just gonna have to go with something normal? Stone bricks. We might just have to go with that. So we're going to have stone bricks on the side, and we're going to have some blue stained glass with some dark gray accents in there. So we'll get that one. And I suppose we can get started with a little bit of a concept. So I can make this a time lapse to pan out the duration of this video a little bit. Or not, just so, these videos are somewhat tolerable. But let's get started with the design. Alright, and here we are. I think it's turned out pretty good. It's kind of simplistic, not as, deep as the others, but, it's still, I think it looks pretty good. I think, the blue and then, the whites and the blacks really bring it out, so, it's not completely boring. So, I think I just need to like copy that a whole bunch of layers on top of that, and I didn't do any of the side designs yet. I definitely need to get into that, but those ones are going to be a bit more simplistic. Probably something similar to these. You see those windows sort of going up like that? Yeah, so it's going to be something like that. And I don't think those should be too difficult. And I'm just going to do it on this side over here because I did originally plan to have one over here, but I needed to sort of adjust the length of that so that way all the black lines would fit in symmetrically. Or I could just push it in, 2 extra blocks. I could just do that. Or would it be, yeah, it would be 2 extra blocks. So I could just do that, but I think this one sort of makes it look a bit smoother in terms of its design, so I think I might just go with this one. So I'll just have to repeat this design a whole lot of times, but the one problem that I'm sort of looking at over here is how am I going to do the back? Because when it comes to all the back of these other skyscrapers, like some of them, have the windows here, but the windows are very, short and moderate, and, even if it is a window and it has a really ugly view to it, at least it's not that big, so it's not too much of a problem. That's why I have all the big windows facing like the spots with like an actual view, and then the smaller ones with stuff that really doesn't have that much. There's a good example of this, like over here. Like there's no windows on this wall, so having a building that's going to be glass all the way around, it's going to be kind of difficult to figure that out. But let's see. I think we can have glass on this side. I just don't know what to do about this back side because we're going to have another skyscraper go right here. And I'm not too sure exactly how that's going to turn out. Or maybe I could just put like a smaller building right here because it's like right next to the train station and, about something the size of that parking garage. Could I just do that? Would that be easier? I just don't really know what I would put there. What to do? I think, yeah, we just put something smaller there because I don't feel like coming up with a completely alternate design to do for that side unless, ooh, I got an idea. We could just take, that weird, boring stone structure and just carry it around in an L shape. Yeah, that's a much better idea, so let's go do that. And I accidentally built out a little bit right here, so that was a bit weird when I realized that I was building that completely wrong. But anyway, let's get into that secondary design. Let's get that picture up there. Alright, let's see. So it kind of follows just sort of a simple sort of corner like that, and there's just some standard windows in. Hold on, let's see. Gotta make sure. I mean, I don't want to make it a perfect copy, of course. I do want some sort of uniqueness to it. I'm just getting some sort of idea because I don't want it to be overly boring or overly detailed. It's got to be sort of that perfect balance. So some of the real world examples help a lot with that. So how am I going to do that? It's just sort of like a big wall of windows. All right, well, first off, this is the floor of, this is like where each individual floor is going to be. So this is where the windows have to be like this. So let's build up a bit like that. And let's get some quartz out. Let's make those windows stand out. So we could do something like, I don't want it to be right up on the corner. Do something like this, and let's see, how are we gonna do this? Like that, and maybe we can put the stone bricks going down like this. Would that be too close to the wall, or is that fine? I suppose we should build up a little bit to get a little better of a understanding of what we're doing here. Let's see, build that up a little bit, and just do this. All right, this should be good enough. I think it's so hard to decide. I think we could like space it out a little bit more, like bring this one out. Although if we bring this window out to here, the problem is, it's going to be difficult putting like an interior wall in here. But, who says I'm planning the interior? The main reason I wanted to work on the city was so I didn't have to stress over the interior. So we could just move this over 1 block and it should be perfectly fine. And I know it will look fine, so I'm allowed to go back out and check. So, ooh, what if we could put some separate designs towards the side? I think that would be a bit too much. So let's do that. And this is where the top goes, so we can do that. And I'm just going to repeat this design a whole bunch of times, so you won't have to, just listen to me try and fill in all the silence. So I will get that as much filled in 3, 2, 1. So we managed to get the sort of general frame of the whole thing finished. It's going to take me quite a while to fill in all of the glass and all the windows and stuff like that, but I just managed to get this so we can just get a general understanding as to what the shape of it's going to look like and just general what it looks like. Just imagine all of those filled in spaces are that color, and also just to see how it fills in, how it looks with the rest of the city. And I think it looks very nice. It's a fine addition to my collection, so I think it'll look really great among the cityscapes, and with a couple more of those and a couple more skyscrapers scattered around, the city will really begin to grow and return back to some more of its former glory, because it's just been looking like this for the past 2 years. It's about time we have some some improvements done to this. So I think I might just end the video now, do a little bit of work on this later. I'll call this episode like Skyscraper 1.1, and then the next episode will be like 1.2, and that's where I'll sort of throw in some finishing touches and get started with the second one. Or I just might finish this in between episodes and just get started right away on the second one. Who knows? Whichever one I feel like doing, or I could just sort of leave this in a little bit of a developing phase, and I can get back to it all later and finish them all simultaneously when I have this entire street finished, and we can get into some of the more interesting parts of the city, like the massive tourist attraction we'll have right here. I'm still not too sure exactly what I'm going to do. But anyway, I suppose we could end the episode right here. Yeah, I guess so. So if you made it this far in the video, leave Goat in the comments. I can't think of anything else that would anything better. So just leave Goats in the comments, 2 T's, if you've made it this far. And I want to thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you all later. Bye!